Welcome to Candid with Claudia, from possibility to reality. I am your host, Claudia Cavillas. Here, real conversations meet inspiring stories, from bold dreams to powerful transformation. Each episode, we sit down with remarkable guests, such as yourselves, who've turned their vision into their reality. So grab your favorite drink, settle in, and let's get candid. Welcome, Crystal Carroll. How are you?
Fantastic. How about you?
I am here.
Good.
I am
Very
here.
good.
Today's episode, we have Crystal Carroll. She is an esteemed published author. She is a motivational speaker. She is my friend and my neighbor. But today, she is here as a breast cancer survivor and thriver. Welcome.
Thank you.
So we're going to touch on a few things that we believe is so day-to-day to the people who have been impacted with cancer.
Absolutely.
I'm going to take us back to April of 2022.
Okay.
It had been a year since I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And I was not that person. I was not who I am today in front of cameras and getting ready to download this episode in a few days from now. But I was an introvert because cancer really made me feel like I was less. We go through those emotions of why, and we went through the stages that I believe most of us go through when we receive 2 or 3 words. In my case, the 3 words that I received was, you have invasive carcinoma, ductal carcinoma to be precise.
Same.
And I had an amazing husband, amazing family, and amazing friends. But I found myself not wanting to turn to any of them because while they were great, it wasn't what I needed to be able to lift me out of that dark moment that I lived in the last year. And so in April, I received a text message. I believe that finally, I think after a year of going through a few surgeries, I made a post on Instagram. And the post had a hashtag, cancer picked the wrong girl. And so I was home one day. I was home a lot. I didn't go out much during that time. And the text was from you.
It was.
And the text said, oh my God, did I just read that hashtag correct? Cancer picked the wrong girl? I didn't reply. But then your next text was, I was diagnosed, I have stage 2 breast cancer. And so at that moment, I vividly remembered today that I was like, oh, I'm not alone. Now, you know you're not alone. Thousands of women go through it.
Sure.
But in my mind, I was like, wow, she lives down this door from me. She knows what I'm feeling and thinking and going through, and I don't have to hide behind, oh, I'm okay, to your family and friends, because you feel for them because you can see their pain,
Sure.
the pain that you have. They are trying to be empathetic, right? But when you're living it, it's a different feeling.
It is.
And so that text transformed me.
Good.
And so that text turned into many text messages for many years.
Yes.
For the last couple of years.
Yes.
Guiding each other on like, hey, what did you get done today? Did you have this? Are you on this pill? Are you, so it became such raw and real conversation in a text message. That it made me think of 2 things. Number one, you really aren't alone, even though I felt alone.
Sure.
I felt alone in an ocean of family and friends and love, but I still felt alone.
Sure.
But at the same time, it made you realize someone else just down the street can really empathize, and I think that's the key word, with what you are feeling.
Absolutely.
And so I thank you for that text.
Oh, you're welcome.
Because perhaps that was the beginning to why I am here today on a platform to bring in guests that have amazing stories, amazing journeys, real conversation that really ignite and spark, hopefully, whoever's listening to us today.
Absolutely.
No matter what stage you are in, hear what we have to say, and hopefully it'll make a difference no matter what stage you are in. So with that said, again, welcome. And how did you feel when you felt those words? And what are some of the steps that helped you get out of a dark moment? And perhaps your moment wasn't as dark as mine. I was for a bit. So talk to us how that was and how the beginning.
Sure. So I was diagnosed February of 2022. And does it run in my family? The answer is no. I tested and did my genetic testing. It came back negative. But I was delayed in my mammogram because of COVID. So I said, you know what? Okay, I'm going to go get it, schedule my appointment. I call her my angel on earth. Her name is Carmen. And as I sat at the office and, they do all your paperwork and confirm your insurance and make sure that everything is in order, I forgot my prescription. And I said to her, it's okay, I'll just reschedule. She was like, you will not. And I said, yeah, it's too early. The office isn't open. My primary care doctor's not available yet. She can't just rewrite me my script. I'll just reschedule. And she said again, you will not. So you can wait in your car or you can wait in the office. But when they open and they send over the script, I'll send you upstairs. It doesn't matter what time. And because she was a little forceful, I said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and just follow her instruction. So when the office opened, I went ahead, they send over and fax the prescription. And Carmen, as she said, sent me upstairs. And the rest is history. I went and I had my mammogram completed. They ended up finding out that I was stage 2. I had, just like you, same exact type. It was on my right side, and when you hear those words, it's kind of like, what do you mean? Like, how could that be me? I don't understand. I don't understand. And then the ball starts rolling with the MRIs and the PET scans and this and that and all the things. And meanwhile, you're just sitting there thinking, like you're alone. I don't understand. What am I supposed to do? So when you put that hashtag, something as simple as a hashtag, which took so much strength for you because I know you were very private in your journey, it just was that one thing I needed to see to realize that, like you, okay, she too has it, and we can talk and we can communicate and we can take our walks together and we can encourage each other. So it was phenomenal. But as a mom of 2 beautiful children, that fear comes in, like, well, what does that mean for me? And ultimately, my care plan was 16 rounds of chemotherapy. So I went through all the things, the weight gain, the hair loss, the highs and lows on the hormones and the emotions, um, the appetite loss. I did all of those things. And I had to keep reminding myself that this is just a season. This is a season. And my positivity is part of my medication. So even though I have to take medicine and I have to sit here and do these IVs and have a port input in my shoulder, all of those things were great, and that was part of my care plan. But the positivity was just as important as my daily dose of medication. And so for me, I felt like even if I was solo or felt moments of time when I was by myself, I just had to continue to stay positive.
So, how was it because of your children?
Absolutely. It was because of my children. They were my why. It was because of my family. They were my why. I felt like this was a journey that, and you'll probably be able to understand this, it's not something I would have ever picked for myself. But now that I've come to the end, I wouldn't change it. Why? That makes no sense. However, I've met amazing women. I've met a community of women that are thrivers. They're super strong. They send a little text message here, send a little text message there. It gave me a second lease on life. It allowed me to be more positive and stop just existing. It allowed me to feel as if tomorrow's not promised, and so I need to live for today.
So, what, and that was something that always intrigued or really drew me to speak to you on the regular at that time, because that was not me. And I believe that it's not just a medication and it's not just a process that we have to go through, whether it's chemo and the amount of surgeries, because we'll get into surgeries next.
Sure.
Um, but it's the mental fortitude or lack thereof that really plays a number on you.
Yeah.
Because that was my struggle.
Right.
Was, you find that your physical strength can come, right? If you can come. But your mental capacity to be able to sustain, okay, you're going to get through today because you've got tomorrow. Like, how did you do that? Because that was something I really I had a battle with. I had to really work through, and I have some steps as to what helped me. But you were like that from the beginning,
I was.
not me.
Yeah.
So for those who are in any season of where they're at right now, how did you do it? Where did you find that not only physical but mental fortitude to keep you the way you were, so positive? Because that, I truly believe, is what really takes the human spirit. Because cancer may or may not take your human spirit, but the lack of positivity and mental fortitude can really hinder a person's soul and drive to move forward. How did you do it?
Not only does it hinder their soul and their drive to move forward, it affects their healing. So positivity was huge, but I also have a very strong and growing relationship with God. So when I would drive over and all my care was done at Mount Sinai, music, I would literally sit in the car, drive over that bridge, and blare whatever song it was in that moment for what I was feeling.
I drove over that bridge many times.
Let me tell you. So that to me was getting it was almost like, when you're in the locker room and you're getting ready for the game. That was my game time in preparation. It was my time to ask for the doctors, the nurses, anyone that was assigned to my care plan to be given the strength and the wisdom to make the right choices and know that we all stand on the same exact goal, which is I want to live. That's it. I want to live. And I have met so many women in this journey. I never would have thought, I never would have imagined. But I've met so many women that they too have their own little things that just keep them moving forward.
Listening to what you have just said has made me think of two things.
Okay.
That I did not do, that perhaps had I done would have probably helped my beginning stages, because I was diagnosed in February of 21. I didn't look for a community of like-minded women.
Sure.
That wasn't what I did. And I know you did that way more than I did. And I am listening to you, and I see your how you shine and how you glow and how you sound, and not just now, but whenever I see you in your walks that you do daily, that a community really matters. And so if you have not built a community, to build it. And I think the other thing that I'm getting from you is you lived. You didn't allow the cancer and the thought of what it was doing to you internally and even externally, physically, to paralyze you in any way. And may that be a lesson, because it's not how I looked at it.
Sure.
I looked at it differently. I probably to some extent allow it to paralyze me a little bit because I didn't know how to work through those, emotions. But yes, community.
It's huge. So I have, I've been to fashion shows. I've been to, all over.
Tell us more, because
I've been on 5Ks in that community. So one of the women that I am very honored to know, Tracy Milgram, she's founder of Braca Strong, and she has welcomed me with open arms.
Yes, I see that.
Really and truly. And it hasn't always been easy. She has that genetic gene that I didn't have. So every year she does an annual, ball and gala and meets all the people. And I'll tell you the difference. So I went to the gala after I had been diagnosed and after I had gone to, start my treatments and everything. And most galas, after they do the presentation and they have the ceremony and they have and they have the dinner and you socialize for like 5 to 10 minutes and then you're like, we're out of here. Like, it's time to go. Yeah. So I went to this gala, and the lesson I learned was that they could have done without the talking. They wanted to dance. And it wasn't like people were like watching their clock and okay, it's late and I got to go get the babies and a babysitter relieve the babies. They were like, this is where it's at. In this moment, I want to dance. And the stage was packed of people dancing and just enjoying the moment. So for me, I felt like I was in a room of people that understand life is so valuable that they wanted to live in the moment. And that was the community that I needed to be a part of.
Wow. And you know, I specifically remember a conversation we had in front of my house. I think I was parking my car and you were doing your daily walks because you walk all the time, which we'll talk about healing.
Absolutely.
We'll get into the walking. But we said something to each other. I don't remember if I said it to you, you said it to me. And it is this: cancer does change you.
Absolutely.
But it does not necessarily change you for the worse.
Agreed.
What it does is it just changes you. And then you wake up one day and you are different. But all of a sudden, the people around you are the same and they don't understand why you changed.
They don't understand.
They don't understand
Oh
why
my God,
you do
that's
what you're
huge.
doing. They don't understand why you are actually living, why you actually want to like be passionate and live. And
Sure.
it's because you know that you almost were gone.
Absolutely.
And so that's something that we said to each other. And so it's interesting because that is another thing that we shared. And I believe that to be so, hence probably why I'm here today, right? Doing this.
Right.
Because you do change.
Right.
And once you realize that the change is good and it's positive and you can use it for the greater good, is when I think you kind of break out. At least I'm speaking for me. I broke out and I'm like, okay, no, I don't have an impairing disease for the rest of my life. I'm not a horrible person. It doesn't matter the scars that I have today. I am empowered because I know what it's like to possibly, in like a split second, my life would have been gone.
Absolutely.
And what that really would have potentially looked like, and I know what it felt like. I don't know what it would look like, but I know what that felt like.
Absolutely.
And so yes.
And to your point, because everything you said, I totally agree with. I went through this journey, and simultaneously, in the building that I work in, there were two women that were also on their own journeys that did not survive. And their story could have been my story. And so for me, not only is my takeaway that I need to live for them, I also believe and thank all the women and men, because breast cancer does run obviously with men. But I feel like when I was going through my treatment, one of the options that I had was to do a trial. So as opposed to, and I'll give you like the short version, but as opposed to doing 4 medications, 2 super strong ones, 2 a little less, the trial was to do 3 medications, 1 super strong one and 2 a little less, so that those harsh ones were not, introduced into your body. And so the idea was that it was going to be successful so that the people in the future wouldn't have to do 4 medications. They would only have to do 3. And so you hear the word trial and you're like, I don't know. That's kind of nervous and scary and all at the same time. But I really believe when I was hit with that news, there were so many people before us that we wouldn't be where we are without them. And who am I to not try to say, okay, if I can help, and if it's going to be something that is going to be for the good, and my body and my doctors and everybody else said, let's say, yes, it's going to be successful in your care plan. I just feel like I have to live for those people that have lost this journey. And so I did do the trial, and the trial was successful, and I've been cancer-free. And so I hope that one day that information will provide for the next generation or whomever else, even though we're asking for a cure to all cancers. Mm-hmm. But just by being able to be a part of that trial, it empowered me. I don't know how to, make it any other way, but it just gave me one of those things that I'm not just going to survive. I'm going to thrive. I'm going to be living my life. And to your point, I'm going to change. It's changed me. It's changed my outlook on life. It's changed the priorities. It's changed that I can be a minimalist and not have to have so much excess. It's changed that time with my family is way more important than just wasting and scrolling and being on social. It's just, you change. Things change. And everybody around you doesn't understand that, to your point. Everybody around you, unfortunately, is not going to go along for the next chapter in your life. but I'm living for me, for those around me, those that I love. And so to your point, the tribe, the village, it's huge. It's huge. You know, I was also a part of the Dear Body Project. And one of the things I learned, and you made a comment about it, is that your scars are like your battle wounds. You know, like you did it and you survived. So there's no shame in the fact that my port had to come out and now I have a scar on my chest and it'll never go away. I had a double mastectomy and my choice was to do implants and reconstruction. That wasn't an easy task, but that was my decision. You know, and that's the other thing, you learn so many things. There's so many options. There's so many choices. It's what works for you, what your, intention is. Some people never put implants and they just continue to have the stitching and the flat chest, and then they do these amazing tattoos. Like there's so many options. It just is so personal. But I think by being a part of that community, you get to see that every journey is so individualized, and you can't, you just got to take their strengths.
You talked a little bit about prayer and God. I believe it was God is what you said.
Yeah.
And right before I was diagnosed, February of 21, I had developed more. I was raised Catholic, and I came from a strong Hispanic background. You go to Catholic church on Sunday,
Period.
like it or not. Period. You don't have a choice. But and then you grow up and you try to figure out who you are, what you are.
Absolutely.
You're going through those stages of being in your 20s and 30s and all that good stuff.
Absolutely.
But then I really wanted to circle back, and it was actually right before I was diagnosed with cancer, a little bit of my religion and my faith. And so I am fortunate that I did, because you are right, that the music, Christian music for me.
Me too.
Series, Channel 65, The Message.
Love it. Maverick City, love.
Love. Okay. I'm not going to do a shameless plug for you guys. But anyway. But yeah, what faith really has done for me, shook me and helped me. And in that year that I was alone, for lack of a better word, I just prayed and I listened to my music, and it allowed me to just gracefully go along until I didn't know what or how was gonna get me out of that dark moment and cloud. Sure. But then I got your text. I will go back to that, and then you slowly realize, and you start putting yourself out there, and if I were to do anything differently, clearly I would not want this again. I'm going on 4 years cancer free.
Wonderful.
So I would have built more of a community. I recall family and friends wanting to be there.
Sure. And they don't know how. And you don't really know, to be fair, you don't really know what you want
from them.
You don't know.
And then I didn't. Then when I was okay. I'll take one call. And so then I took a call. It wasn't from someone who was going through as I was going through. And you're like, how are you feeling? And and it's again not their fault, but you don't want to recite what you've gone through.
Right.
It's like, okay, I'm just
right.
And so to be in the presence of someone through a text message, through the walks, throughout our village. Yeah. Sometimes we didn't have to talk.
We didn't.
Because we knew exactly what we were thinking, and there was no words being said.
None whatsoever.
And so what are some things that you, and I think you've mentioned it, but what are some things based on the season that someone was in, if you had to sum it up to like you go through this season when you're, your first diagnosis, then there's a treatment plan. But kind of like the before after, what are some things that you would tell someone that helped you get to who you are today? I mean, they don't know who you were before.
Sure.
They don't know who I was before.
Sure.
But I do.
Right.
And so what are some of those things, words like?
Well, let's see. Nature has been huge. So some people like nature, some people don't. But I love plants, and I love birds, and I love the ocean. And we're privileged enough to live around all of that. So one of the things that I would do is I would go to sunrises. I would go by the water. I would put my feet in. I would just be thankful just for another day, because not every day is easy. Not every day is a cakewalk. Those days when you go and have an MRI and unfortunately the dye infiltrates the the line and then it burns. It's like those things are not easy, but you just have to keep looking forward. If I could tell anybody that's going through this journey, find your tribe, circle the wagons, because not everybody needs to know your business. Find those people that don't need you to answer the question, what can I do for you? They just bring you a meal.
Yeah.
They just say, and my sister was such a blessing because she would call me and say, well, how you doing today? How's it going? And here's me laying on the couch and just had a treatment or whatever. And I'd be like, I'm fine. She'd say, no, you're not. I'm on my way. I'll work from your house this weekend, or whatever. So just find your tribe. That's huge. Find a support group that understands what you're going through. Most hospitals, including, Mount Sinai, had a great support group that I could kind of talk to when I was in those moments, and I felt like other people didn't understand. You're not alone. I would tell people you're not alone. I would tell them, you are the gift, because a lot of people don't understand, well, why did this happen to me? Why do I have these scars? What's next? I would also say stay off of social media and stay off of Google. Because those...
is it Google now or is it ChatGPT?
I don't even know. But either way, don't go there. Don't go there. Don't become your own self-diagnosing doctor, because there's a lot of scary stuff out there on that internet. Do not torture yourself with that.
Yes.
So I would definitely say that. And even as much as you say that you didn't want to have a lot of people around and you didn't know the words, and I admire you because we too had a conversation where you said, we could walk together, but I kind of want to walk by myself.
Yeah.
And I respect that.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that is another piece of advice. And it's okay. Like my therapist will say, we're cocooning right now. And in a minute, the cocoon is going to come off and we'll be these amazing butterflies. And it's okay. So I just admire the fact that you were able to speak what you wanted. And then there were times when we did walk together. But say what you want. In this day and age, we didn't survive cancer to die from stress.
I'm going to use that line.
Absolutely. It's in my bathroom. I see it every morning. I didn't survive cancer to die from stress.
Yeah. I am going to use that line.
Please do.
That is because cancer causes stress.
It does.
And definitely stress can eat you alive.
Absolutely.
I want to thank you so much.
Oh.
I want to thank you so much because we can literally be here for another hour.
At least.
Because there's so many parts of this journey that we have left out. But we want to let everyone know that we are here. We survived.
We did.
But most importantly, we thrived.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Wishing you the best.
As we sum up today's episode, I want to leave you with this thought. If you wait until you feel better to start living, you might be waiting forever. Go live your life. Do it when you're sad. Do it when you're anxious. Do it when you're uncertain. Because healing doesn't always come before the experience. Sometimes the experience is what heals you. As we conclude the episode of Candid with Claudia, where here we hear personal stories from possibility to reality, I want to extend my heartfelt thanks to all of you for listening. And remember to connect with us on Instagram and TikTok, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And now I invite you to reflect. What are you doing to turn your possibilities into reality? Are you doing anything and everything necessary to make sure that your dreams come true? Until next time.